Hey everybody, John here from Jaybirds Media. I just got the Nintendo Switch 2 and it's been a pretty cool console. I have a few different things to say, but sorry it took so long to make this video. I just got a brand new puppy with my wife. So this is MJ. This is why it took me a little longer than I expected to get it going. Alright MJ, you can go back to sleep. She likes to sleep next to my feet right now. I know that'll change with age. And she's already better at Mario Kart than I am. So I want you to rewind to 2017 with me, when the original Nintendo Switch came out. And half the internet was saying that it would be a flop. I had multiple people stop me in Walmart while I was buying accessories for the Switch to tell me that I bought an underpowered machine and that I was wasting my money and that Nintendo was not even supporting it anymore. Which, at the time, I wasn't sure if it was true or not, but obviously it was not. Multiple people told me Nintendo was doomed, which we were just coming off the Wii U era, so I get the premise, but the Switch was obviously something really cool to me and apparently to a lot of different people. With that happening, then we had Joy-Con drift. That took the internet by storm for a while. People were complaining about it. For some reason, that wasn't the Nintendo Switch killer either. People still enjoyed it, even helping it climb to the very top. Those things, the things that people said about the Nintendo Switch 1. Will this just be another Nintendo Switch moment with the Nintendo Switch 2? I don't know. But what I do know is, we're fast forwarding to the Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Switch 2. Oops. The Nintendo Switch 2, which I would say right out the box feels way more premium than the original Switch ever did. Not saying that with the original Switch wasn't a great console, but the Switch 2 is much different. So if we fast forward today, Switch 2 is in my hands. And yes, it feels a tiny bit bare at launch. Like, I will admit, there's not a lot to do on it unless you're playing old games, which many of y'all are probably like, I'm tired of playing those games. I get it. But you know what? The hardware did have a glow up. The screen's bigger, the Joy-Cons are beefier. It's the same console, just a little grown up from the outside, but inside it's packed with a lot of features. And honestly, let's be real about this. The Xbox 360 to the Xbox One was not a huge jump in crazy inventions like how the Nintendo's always done. Or the PlayStation 3, 4, or 5. The only difference is that you got a little touchpad on the controller, but for the most part, innovation really isn't there. It's just more powerful. Exactly what the Switch 2 did from the Switch 1. Body might be the same. There's a little extra features. Performance is greatly improved. So I think that's something to be happy about. And honestly, I'm kind of glad the form factor stayed the same. I liked the familiarity. We went from the NES to the SNES. There was still some familiarity between those two consoles. Controllers changed a little bit. Form factor changed very slightly, right? Little innovations, but lots of comfort. And I think that's what Nintendo does great. It's always been a nostalgia company. See wacky innovations, and this Go seems to be really focused on the mouse specifically. And you know, if you're honest with yourself, pretty much PCs and consoles in general stay with the if it ain't broke, don't fix it model, and that hasn't hurt those companies. For some reason, people just like to jump on Nintendo. I guess it's because they're known to be the innovative company. So far, I've sunk hours into Mario Kart World, which has incredible water physics. Like, every time I play on some map with water, I'm always blown away with the way the water reacts to its environment. Like, when you hit the water, you don't instantly just hit it and go. You sink, or you splash, or if a bomb goes off, it ripples the water, and then you either have to jump it or slow down by hitting that ripple. Then there's little bitty tweaks on the cart, like just watching the cart squat when it hits the ground, or the way the tires flex out, or any of that stuff blows my mind that they decided to add so many of those little physics to the game. So I would say the roads don't feel too overwhelming. I feel like I have lots of space for drifting or whatever else I want to do, and I'm not really worried about running it. I really I've barely hit any objects, even with 24 other carts. Without friends, it's a party game and it plateaus. Like, I don't feel like it's a game that you can sit there and play by yourself for hours. Like, I found myself wanting more. The open world was interesting, but I don't know, it's not really made for us. And by us, I mean people that are, to be honest, aging out of the demographic that Nintendo's probably hitting. Mario Kart is made for people that grew up with Breath of the Wild, with Minecraft, with those other types of open world games where you just get to sandbox and kind of be creative. These games push that, but for some of us that keep it kind of boring and tedious, And I feel like that's what Mario Kart World's Roam feature is. I have not tried out the knockout feature yet, but from what I've seen, it looks like a lot of fun. Just being able to play such a beautiful Mario Kart game and for it to run so seamlessly. But that doesn't mean that it's something you should just want to pick up. But with that being said, I think Mario Kart does have me wanting more in the Roam aspect of it, at least. Because if that's the reason it's as expensive it is, I don't feel like it's worth it. But when I'm flying solo on the Switch 2, what have I found myself playing mostly? No, it is not Cyberpunk 2077. Honestly, it being a third-party game, I'm hoping that will be one thing that does go down in price. I know that Nintendo games will never go down in price. So what I decided was to get Metroid Prime Remastered finally. Been wanting to play that for a while, get myself ready for the new Metroid game coming out. A cool console that can play really old games super well. And that might sound really stupid, but if you've watched anybody on YouTube right now, they're going to tell you the loading screens go way faster than they ever have. I've also found myself playing Soul Calibur, which was a game I got to play at friends' houses, but I never owned it, and so that's been a great experience. I jumped back into Wind Waker. It's lacking in first-party games right now. Like, Mario Kart's not going to hold your attention long enough. High hopes for Donkey Kong coming out pretty soon. I'm waiting on some third-party games to get a little bit cheaper, because I know they probably will. I will say, if you're not into Mario Kart, I think it's well worth waiting for the Nintendo Switch. Don't let people make you feel like you have to, and also don't let the haters make you feel like you shouldn't buy it either, because I will say, it's like a good console. It is. I mean, like, I like it a lot. It's fun. Looking at you, real life fake wizard. Say Switch 2 isn't worth the price tag, which I get. He makes the claim that the value for $1 isn't there yet, which is funny because he talks about the markets and them dictating that. The markets will prove whether this console is worth the money value or not. You have to decide whether you think it's worth the money. Like, it's the price that it is. They might come down on it, maybe. The Switch rarely ever had any discounts. I don't see them doing a discount on this one. I like it. It feels like a better console than the original Switch. It plays better. They did a great job with this console, and to give us the big power jump that they did, and it's able to run so many new games that are coming out, and people are wanting to optimize it for the new Switch, I think that says a lot about the console. In my opinion, Nintendo itself is the only one that ever tries to innovate. NES, D-pad, SNES, shoulder button, Nintendo 64, analog sticks, GameCube, tiny discs, Wii, motion controls, Wii U, off-TV play, Switch, hybrid console, Switch 2, mouse-style gyro point. Nintendo is the only company that ever innovates, or at least seemingly does. Everybody else throws third-party stuff at their consoles. Nintendo does it for their customers. Nintendo's always moving in the right direction and trying to innovate and give us new creative things. I don't know, man. I think they're trying to give us the value for our dollar. I mean, it's a business. I'm not going to just defend them. They're trying to make money. I feel like we do get value for what we pay for. I mean, there's obviously things I don't like. I don't like paying expensive prices for games. Performance. Power bump. Absolutely. Docked mode pumps out visuals the original couldn't touch. Handheld 60 frames per second feels silky in Mario Kart, and my unit's been rock solid. Shout out to Wolfden. His Switch 2 crashed in his first hour of having the Switch. Mine, zero issues, which even with my original Switch, I didn't have all the problems everybody else was having. I had my Switch from day one of launch all the way until like a couple weeks ago when I finally decided to sell it to put that money towards the Switch 2, and I had one Joy-Con ever mess up, and it was the right Joy-Con, which I'm sure was my fault because I'm probably a lot more aggressive because I'm right-handed. Moving on, so if you want like a better gritty tech breakdown for the Switch, that's not what this is for. Check out Wolfden's video. He does a great job talking about things to optimize the Switch and make it like a better console while you're playing. Check him out. Wolfden's awesome. He's one of my go-tos besides beat 'em ups if I just want a pat on the back for being a Nintendo fan. Microtransactions. I thought this was a great point brought up by Linus Tech Reviews. No, he talked about how Nintendo doesn't beat you over the head with microtransactions as much as other gaming companies. Love that Nintendo typically gives us a big beefy game right out the gate. Some people complain about subscription services with Nintendo. How many of y'all are paying for subscriptions for PlayStation, Xbox, or whatever else? I don't mind paying that subscription. It's cheaper than most things that I've seen, especially for a whole year. If you want classic turbocharged, gorgeous screen gameplay with some of these old games, buy the Switch. If handheld life matters more than 4K ray tracing, buy the Switch 2. If you're cool for waiting for third-party catalogs to fill out, buy the Switch 2. But if you crave God tier graphics above all else, build a PC and let Nintendo. So to wrap it up, Switch 2 has room to grow, but the foundation is sturdy and it is fun. I enjoy it. It is good. If this helped you decide, smash the like button. Think about subscribing to my channel. I'm trying to make more content, trying to make it better. I'm working on it. I'm building. Y'all give me grace. Help me build this and make it a great thing. Love you guys.